Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of SmackDown Under the Mat. On this episode, we will discuss that brilliant segment with Cody and Roman.
Cinema.
Absolute cinema. Grayson Waller scheduled for a PWA show in Australia, and the Lucha Bros, they're on their way. Dan, it's been a big week in wrestling. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, Reece. There's a lot of stuff going on. I've had the pleasure of spending the last hour or so with you sitting on the couch watching all the reviews.
Just reminiscing on the week.
Recaps of everything. And watching that Cody Roman thing like 4 or 5 times now. It was absolute cinema.
Literal cinema. It looked Hollywood A movie production quality.
Yes. Do we want to start talking about it?
Just straight off to it.
Let's do it.
But where to start, though? That's the question.
Well,
I feel like the thing that's resonating with me the most is you're in my way in life.
It was a great line to finish.
Oh, just a little cherry on top, the icing on the cake.
There's so many things to take from it.
Yeah.
And the way, obviously, it was shot is really well done. It's very cinematic. I also think that, like, the first shot that you get, right, where it's just like the city backdrop and it says, boom, Atlanta.
And then it just narrows.
Yeah, but like that's Avengers.
Yeah.
Like if you watch all those Marvel movies, when the Marvel movies start somewhere in Sokovia or whatever, it's just Sokovia. And like the way they shot it and the way they presented it was cinema quality.
Yeah.
Not sure why Roman needs 7 armored cars to drive in just himself. Even when it was the Bloodline, when there was a whole bunch of them, maybe, but like that seemed excessive, but fair.
Yeah.
It's okay. Roman,
I figured that it'd be like Roman was in the front and then Cody was in the back. So I was waiting for them to come at like opposite ends of that car trail and then just like go diagonally towards the center.
And then Cody gets the sports car, which unfortunately was just a Mustang.
Yeah.
Like, you could do better.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have made more sense if it was like in Detroit, because that's where like Ford is from.
Yeah. What does Atlanta do? Educate us. We're Australian. We don't know shit.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, look, it's Cody Rhodes. I would have expected a little bit better than a Mustang.
Come
but
on.
that's fine. That's okay. It, again, is what it is. The things that I've seen a lot of people talk about already on this is the way that it was shot so cinematically, and that's Georgia Tech Stadium looked awesome, empty. But what this did was allow Roman and Cody to cut a promo without having to worry about the crowd and the crowd interaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've listened to interviews previously with Roman Reigns where he has said that some of his favourite work was during the pandemic when he was in the Thunderdome because he could talk quietly.
Yeah.
He could really let his facial effects go to the camera. He could really act it.
Yeah.
And because this wasn't a in-ring promo, this was an acted segment.
Yep.
They both shone because there was no other noise. There was no other distractions. There was no idiot in the background putting up a sign saying, "Hey, I like Santy."
There was no what chance.
None of that. And so you could film it the way you wanted it filmed. And we've read up and seen that it was produced predominantly by Jeremy Borash, who used to be in TNA, wasn't he? He ran TNA
Yeah,
for a
pretty
while
sure.
and
Yeah.
And I think he was a commentator a while ago. So he's been doing a lot of backstage.
Yeah, okay. That's why the name rang a bell. He was the commentator in TNA.
Yeah, he was. It was him and Paul Heyman, essentially, that had their hands all over this, which, like, you could tell this was... Look, we say it's cinema. We've said it's cinema 14 times.
We truly are in the cinematic era.
Absolutely, because this was brilliant.
You mentioned Paul Heyman. One thing I do want to touch on that a lot of people are talking about. Last week on SmackDown, when we had Roman coming out to the ring to sign the contract at the end of the show, and then I noticed it in this as well. Like, it's since people have pointed it out, he always looks to his left. Previously, that was him looking to Heyman and to the title, but now there's nothing. And that got referenced in this promo. There's no Bloodline, there's no Jimmy, there's no Paul, there's no Ulafala, there's no championship. Roman literally has nothing left.
Which is what Cody said.
Yeah.
He said this at the start of the feud last year, that you
At the
may still be
WrestleMania
a tribe,
39 one.
but you'll be a chief with no tribe.
Yep.
And that was a great line back then, and to pull back to it years later is really well done. I love the way they're setting this up for Roman, in that we are now sympathetic with him as a character.
Absolutely.
We want to see him succeed and come back. And that's because the Bloodline took his Jimmy, they took his Wise Man, they took his Ulafala.
Yep.
Does he feel entitled to getting the championship back?
Oh, absolutely.
Probably. I like that Cody was like, it's not yours.
Yeah, it's not yours to take.
You've got to beat me for it. All of this is great. And the fact that this entire promo segment and stuff, and the way that it was shot, was for two guys that are in a tag team together for a different match. Although this was absolutely a Roman versus Cody promo.
And that's the thing, like, as I was watching it, the way that Cody was responding and what he was talking about, it felt like Cody was just throwing jabs like a heel would. It felt like there was like little thin veils of heelish work in that promo. And I feel like the song that they used was perfect.
I Am a Storm by V.O. Williams.
This feels like the Roman Reigns redemption story.
Yeah, I could say it. I think it is. I think this is building Roman up to get everything back. Bringing back the Roman Empire.
That is going to, when he gets back to there, no matter how long it takes, if it takes a year, 18 months, 24 months, like when that moment comes and he gets that title back and he has his bloodline again, that is going to be something special.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that the way that they portrayed both of them as baby faces, yet both of them as heels in the same promo. Roman to come out and say, "This is my stadium because I played college football here. This is my stadium. This is my city." And then Cody's like, "Yeah,
this is my home.
I wrestled around here. My family's been here for 20 years. This is my home." Like both of them have a right to what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Both of them think they're correct. That's good writing. That's good booking because neither of them are blatantly wrong. A cheap heel or poor heel is someone that says something. Let's say Finn Balor. Finn Balor at the moment is not a cheap heel, but he is a very hypocritical heel in the sense that he is saying that to Rhea, you turned your back on the family. You didn't want us. You were all about your championship, blah, 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 blah. You broke this family up. It's all your fault. And then says, "Oh, by the way, I was the one telling Dom to go with Liv and stuff." So he's breaking it up. But that's what a heel does, right? Because he doesn't see that he's doing the bad thing. You're the bad person. Yeah. Whereas in this promo, both Roman and both Cody are fully justified in what they're saying, and it just adds extra levels to what this feud will be.
And then once that video stopped playing, they showed Kevin Owens in the back watching that. Just there.
Byron's an idiot. Saxton. Can I have your thoughts? And then comes back 5 minutes. Can I have your thoughts?
Yeah, so stupid. But like, for that to lead to the little interaction between him and Cody, which I actually wasn't expecting Cody to show up on SmackDown, so I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah.
They should have pulled the trigger. Kevin Owens had that steel chair, and it was the perfect moment.
No,
but I understand you have a theory,
and I haven't given this to Reece yet, so I want to see his genuine reactions to this. So my pitch to this whole story is how this is going to play out. Obviously, right now we all think KO is the one that's going to turn on Cody, right? Yeah. Because why would Cody side with Roman? Yes, you've got my back. I trust you. Something's going to happen, right? Yeah. But why is KO allowing his best friend or one of his friends, Cody, to trust Roman in the bloodline after what's happened for the 4 years? This is the point where KO turns. No. So my point is that we're going to get to a point. It's probably going to be after the match. And then it's going to have a very similar sort of segment where KO is going to be like with a chair or something behind Cody. He's really frustrated and he's done with it. And then Randy Orton comes out. And Orton comes out to KO and he's like, "Look, I understand your frustrations, but you've got to put..."
I think I know where this is going.
You've got to put everything in front of you, and you've got to put the best for the business and best for yourself has to be forward. Put away your personal things. None of that matters, right? Yeah. What is best for your championship hopes, what is best for the business is what has to be done. And Cody, bang, RKO. And Randy turns on Cody first, and then KO's like, "What the hell?" And then
do they beat him up together?
No, but that's the point. For the next month or so, it's then does KO side with Randy, who's his partner, or Cody, who's his friend, and he doesn't know who to pick, which side it is. And then that could be all the way through to like maybe a Royal Rumble moment where you've got both of them in the Rumble and KO has to pick which one it is. Yeah, so I don't think KO turns. I think this is a long-term swerve that you think it's Kevin all the time, and it's not. It's going to be the Apex Predator, and it's going to be Randy.
I kind of like that here. I think that's good. Because that's one of the things I keep thinking about. Like, this is now, the third time they've teased Kevin Owens doing something.
Yes.
Knowing WWE, they're very calculated with why they do things, and there has to be something big coming, and there has to be some sort of massive payoff.
Yep.
That
I
could
reckon
very
it's
well
fair.
be it.
Because they've pandered so much into the Kevin Owens story that KO turns on everyone.
Yeah.
And he's even said in the ring, he goes, I've done it to everybody. I know I do it.
Maybe this is the time that he just doesn't.
This is maybe the time that choice to turn on someone gets taken out of his hands.
Right.
And Randy does it first.
I like where this is going.
Yeah, that's my pitch.
Nice. Okay. Very good.
Do we want to finish talking about SmackDown before we go on to the rest of the stuff?
Yeah.
Well, we're here.
What other things of note shall we talk about?
Well, the one thing that I wanted to comment, apart from how good that cinematic promo was, which we've said already for the first
it's the
10
highlight
minutes.
of the week.
It will absolutely will be. I just want to say very, very strongly that WWE Andrade greater than AEW Andrade.
Yeah. He's doing really well for himself. Like, that was the thing. Before that Money in the Bank ladder match where him and Carmelo just, like, stole that match.
Yep.
Didn't win it, but they stole that match. Ever since then, because people were just like, oh, he's not doing anything. He's doing something of importance now. He's had this best of 7 series, it is
Well,
now,
the next
I
one's
think.
going to be the 6th.
Which is kind of weird because, like, he got to 3-2 against Carmelo, got the title shot, but now they're just going to do best of 7? But is that going to lead to a title shot? And Carmelo comes out on top?
They've just said the next match is the 6th match.
I know, but, like, they haven't defined it, and it's kind of weird. They're just going with it.
Agree.
And like, but that's a good thing, like, with these matches. Every single match that they've done has been different in its own way.
Yes.
And it's been entertaining and surprising every time.
And it's been just good plain wrestling. Like, Andrade hasn't had to cut a promo.
No. And when he did, it wasn't very good.
No, but it wasn't. But, like, he's just so good in the ring that... And Carmelo is so good at that sort of shit-stirring heel promo.
Yeah.
He's the
fries in the
real...
bag.
Yeah, put the fries in the bag. Get back to Macca's, mate. He's really entitled with his promos,
Yeah.
which makes the face against him...
Well, he's him.
He's pretty good.
He's pretty
he is pretty good. I'd love to see him get a long run eventually. But that's made this series so good. And we talk about, that AEW is where the best wrestle and all that kind of stuff, and it is. But to me, some of the times that AEW puts on these wrestling matches that are just like Ospreay versus Ricochet is going to happen on Dynamite. Why?
That's a big pay-per-view level match.
Absolutely, it should be built to it and stuff like that. Carmelo and Andrade is not at that level, but you can have that on a SmackDown, and you can have that now for the last 8, 9, 10 weeks, and people aren't sick of seeing it because it's good wrestling. It's a good match.
Absolutely.
That, to me, kind of allows you to have cinematic Cody Rhodes promos and Roman not actually wrestle a match for 2 months when he returns because you've got Andrade and Carmelo tearing it up every week.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Encapsulates it very
You don't
well.
want to touch on your mate LA Botch?
Oh,
slipping
look,
off the ropes and
I
botching up the whole
mentioned
match?
it offline. Yeah, it was... I literally sat there, like, he went for the spot, and then he went for it again, and he fucked up both times. And I just sat there, and I just went, oh, no! Because Dan's always shitting on LA Knight, and I was like, no, he's right.
No comment. I'll just leave it at that.
It was an okay match.
I'm just glad that they pulled through the finish.
Well enough.
Yeah, but it feels like they didn't even have to sort of think about it.
No, they didn't try and,
botched
like,
it, he
redo
missed.
the spot like I've seen. Like, they used to do it all the time in the past. Like, miss a spot, try and redo it and replicate it.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. They just moved on and went with the rest of the match.
Well, because it
worked out
was
fine.
right at the finish.
Yeah.
Because he missed the... I assume the finish would have been...
The superplex.
He jumps up, hits the superplex, picks him up, BFT wins.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do it, so then he just ducked out of the way of the drop kick and then hit the BFT. Like, they just straight to the finish.
Yeah.
I thought that was very smart.
Let's talk about Giovanni Vinci. What are they doing with Gio at the moment?
man.
What are they doing?
It's probably a long-term arc.
I just realized, should I shave
Yes.
and go the
Yes,
Giovanni
you should.
Vinci route?
You absolutely should.
It's kind of funny because I used to have just like the chin patch when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I showed a picture to Annie the other day, and she's like, "Don't ever do that again."
I used to do the Shannon Knoll and just the chin
Old
bit.
Knowles. For those of you who don't know, just a soul patch.
The soul patch. Yeah.
Just
I
let
used
that
to
grow
do
out to like down here.
No, I never
are they
let it go
doing?
long. Mine was just the short one. It's just under there. Because I could never do... I still can't. You can see, like, I can't get the moustache to connect
Yeah,
to the beard.
can't really get the joiners
Yeah.
very well. It's really light hair around there.
We have shit facial hair. We do.
But yeah, back to Giovanni Vinci. Like, what are they doing?
It's gotta be
it's got to lead to something important. They can't just like keep dropping him out.
Can't they?
Please,
Can't
don't.
they? Like,
Please don't.
look, I think you need.
He's a great talent. He doesn't need this sort of
you
treatment.
need mid-card.
I know, but that's what
acts.
Apollo Crews is for.
Apollo Crews should go back to NXT or whatever else. Like, that's probably a bit rough on him. He's good in the ring. He's just got no personality. No one cares.
Why couldn't we have given those wins to Baron Corbin
instead of
Apollo Crews?
Yeah, where is your mate Baron?
I don't know. Reply to me on TikTok though. I was pretty happy about that.
Thanks, Baron. Look, I think it's probably a long-term losing storyline for him.
I mean, if it's entertaining, like you
as
get
long
on
as he
TV
gets
every
TV
week,
time, yeah.
It's
I can't think of where it leads though. Like I can't see.
I don't see where.
I can't see him facing Cody. I can't see him facing LA Knight.
No.
I can't see him getting a tag team. He's a singles wrestler right now. I can't see him going back to Imperium.
What do we do?
He's a mid card talent. He's not floating around that Andrade Carmelo range. He's not in the LWO sort of side of things. He's not part of Street Profits or Bloodline. Like he is the comedy act there right now. And it's not that
unfortunate.
funny.
It's unfortunate. I'm going to move it back to some local news at the moment and talk about Grayson Waller getting called out by PWA, Pro Wrestling Australia, based in Sydney. Jimmy Townsend has called his shot. Keys to the kingdom.
Yeah.
So for those of you who won't know, because it will be most of you, Keys to the Kingdom. He gets this big key and it essentially grants him any match that he wants anytime. Kind of like a Money in the Bank contract, but not for titles.
It can be anything.
Whatever match he wants, whenever he wants it.
Yeah. And what PWA have coming up in October, which we're going to go
a few
to
weeks
Sydney
away.
and watch, they have what's called the Coliseum. So it's kind of like their King of the Ring tournament type thing.
Yeah.
8 people enter. You win your way through. You then become the Coliseum champion. Right?
Which then you get a title shot afterwards, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you get the sword, don't you? Isn't that what you get for winning the Coliseum? Robbie Eagles won it a few years ago.
Actually, yeah, I have seen.
You do. You get the big
yeah,
sword.
Okay.
And then, because then there's also the Soul of PWA Championship and the World Title
Robbie
and lots of
Eagles,
stuff. And yeah, Jimmy Townsend has the key to do whatever he wants. Could enter himself in the tournament. Could take any of the titles. No. Called his shot. He called out his old mate
Grayson Waller,
who used to be Matty Wahlberg in
Waller.
PWA.
Oh, mate. We saw the first video of Jimmy calling out Grayson a couple weeks back, and it was kind of like they would not be putting this out there if it was not going to happen. And then soon as Grayson
was like, nah.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate, but nah.
And then they've done some back and forth on social media, and then once Grayson confirmed, yep, fine, you're on. I'll see you at PWA.
Tickets
Coliseum,
purchased.
October 12th, yes. Tickets were purchased. So we will be there October 12 and 13. If you're in Australia and you're going to the show, come have a chat. If you're not, come to the show and come have a chat. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, don't come for us. Come to see Grayson Waller and all the other awesome matches there. But
PWA is fantastic.
If we're there, it's a perk.
Immense show. Yeah. I don't know about that. Is it a perk that we're there?
Perk angle, maybe? Yeah.
That's the best type of perk, right?
Look, I'm super keen for it. I'm like, I only took you last on your first PWA show earlier this year.
That was really...
And it was
next level.
eye-opening for you of how different, how good that crowd was and how well it was presented. I reckon this will be even better. Because this is like their WrestleMania. It's a 2-day event kind of thing. So
it's going to be fun.
very keen for that.
All right, moving on.
And Grayson coming out, which is going to be awesome, which means he won't be on SmackDown for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Because I think like that week or the week before.
It's the week after Bad Blood.
Yeah, because they're scheduled to have a match that week.
Are they?
Yeah.
With who?
NXT, CWW, they're facing Fraxium.
Oh,
tag
okay, cool.
titles.
Yeah, so that'll be, and then
So
he's
it's
flying
literally
out.
going to be like, he's going to be on NXT and then he's going to fly over to Australia, I'd say.
Grayson Waller, hardest working man in WWE.
Absolutely.
Heard it here
absolutely.
first.
Got to get that Grayson Waller rub, right? All right, moving on. Let's talk about some stuff from Raw. Okay. Mainly, let's talk about big, meaty men slapping man meat.
This was 5 stars. This is the... If that...
It wasn't even a match and it was 5 stars.
Cody and Roman promo did not happen this week, this is the best thing of wrestling of the entire week.
Absolutely.
This was so fun.
So entertaining. Get in the ring. Bronson charges at Braun. Into the turnbuckle. Boom! Comes off.
So good.
Excellent start. Take it outside, through the barricade, out into the crowd, through the pyro area.
Yeah.
Taking out tables left, right, and center. Go out at the back, taking out more tables and security guards.
Flipping a golf cart.
Yeah, flipping. I forgot about that. We just watched it and I forgot about it. Flipping a golf cart and then crashing through a wall, which, mind you, I've shat on those types of spots in the past before because they're obviously placed walls and they're very thin.
The exact thing with Chris Jericho and Samoa Joe. We're like,
Yep.
that looks so fake.
Yep.
So was this. I don't care.
No, it was done well.
It was an absolute Gaiju moment. It was Godzilla versus Kong type thing. It was just two monsters. And you know what? This is what we want to see from Braun and Bronson in that it is not a 5-star wrestling match. I don't want to see
Just go to town on each
elbow
other.
tie, collar lockups. I don't want to see suplexes. I want to see small packages. I want to see these two big boys destroy shit.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they've done for the last month. They've just been going through tables. And I think I was listening to the Wrestle Talk podcast guys when they discussed this. I think they've set the plan the right way. Is that the way that this match this feud has to end is it has to be last man standing.
Yep.
Because we don't want to see them in a cage because we like them destroying shit, right? We don't want to see them in any other stipulation. We don't want to see them in a strap match or tied together or 2 out of 3, 4. None of that. Doesn't matter. What you want to see is who can do the biggest, most damaging spot to the other person to count them out for 10.
Yeah.
And that is how this should finish. And it should be the most, Bronson's tsunami'd on top of a car. He's gone through several tables with him. Braun's chokeslammed him. The chokeslam in that ring tonight was huge.
Tsunami off the stage.
Obviously flipping things, going through the walls. This is the point where this sort of feud ends with a Shane O'Mac spot.
Oh,
just something ridiculous where
Tsunami off the Titantron.
Something stupid. That's what you have to see. And then, you know what? These boys
off the back of the production truck.
Do something ridiculous, and then they're done. And then they come back at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
You get them to do a momentous, mammoth feat of a thing that just is insane, and then see you in 2 months, guys.
Yeah.
And you give them their time off.
And then you get that face-off again in the Rumble.
Absolutely.
And everyone just erupts.
Yep, 100%.
Oh, it's been so entertaining. I can't wait to see where
this
And
you know what? For you to have told me that this was Braun Strowman was going to be this entertaining to me again, I'm like, no, he's not.
No.
I don't care for him anymore. He needs to just shake his head.
But this is the
and
thing.
move on.
Whenever he's like this is when Braun is best.
Absolutely. When he's used as a monster.
Yeah, he had that whole feud with Roman a few years back, pre-pandemic. And it was them just beating the shit out of each other. It was just entertaining. That's what we need from Braun.
And then when you tried to put him with Ricochet and stuff, it wasn't that great. It was fun.
It wasn't even that funny either.
Yeah.
You try and do the comedic angle with it too, and it just didn't quite work. Maybe that was because of Ricochet.
I just want 2 Godzilla-esque monsters to destroy themselves.
Yeah,
and I think that'd be sick. My only down point to that is you don't pay off the Seth Rollins injury.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When's that going to happen?
Don't know.
All right. CM Punk, your mate.
What do you mean, my mate? I don't know what you're talking about.
We've seen him a few times this week.
He's been busy.
He has.
Phil?
Let's talk about his Raw appearance first, and then we'll crack on to NXT. That promo to open the show, wasn't it?
He was.
Yeah.
Look,
I have not seen a promo from Punk like this in a very long time. This was just calculated, calm, cool, and collected.
I think this is what everybody wanted Punk to come back and do. I think all the AEW people that have been saying Punk's terrible, he's washed, he's no good, they hate his WWE run, is because a lot of his promos before this has been, they've been decent Punk promos, but a lot of it's been I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money. I'm back home. Look, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for the crowd. That's not what CM Punk's about, and it never has been. And although he's had good underlyings to a lot of those promos, he has been pandering to WWE a lot.
Yeah.
This promo was not. This promo sold Hell in a Cell as this is the only way we can end this feud. My sister doesn't want me to do this. My wife doesn't want me to do this. The devil on my shoulder told me I have to do this. If we have to go into this cell, and I don't want to kill you, Drew, but if you're going to try and beat me, you're going to have to kill me to do it.
Yeah.
The way that he sold the brutality of Hell in a Cell, made the Hell in a Cell match what it should be again.
Yeah.
Because since they had the times when it was the Hell in a Cell
the pay-per-view,
you just had a feud that, the example that I'll give, Cody and Seth, right?
Yeah.
That was a great match that they had for their feud. Did not need to be a Hell in a Cell. And the match itself with his torn pec and everything was great because it was Cody and Seth. It wasn't because it was a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time for the last few years, all of the matches that have been built up have just conveniently timed themselves to be in October to match the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Whereas this feud has actually built itself, and this promo has said to you that the cell is needed to finish this feud. It is not conveniently timed. It is not because it's a pay-per-view that we need this cell because we have been interfering with each other for so long. We've been causing each other problems. We couldn't resolve it at SummerSlam. We couldn't do it here. He destroyed me in Chicago. I've done all this. It has to be done in a cell. And this promo sold it.
Yeah. You mentioned that it doesn't have to be and it's not conveniently timed, but is it not conveniently timed to have it the first time that we've had bad blood in many, 20 years or something now? And you've mentioned that on every one of those cards, there's been a Hell in a Cell match. So is it not conveniently timed?
I mean, it is. It is conveniently timed. But I think this is for once that it's justified.
Yeah.
Conveniently timed. Like we've seen people like on the internet been putting out those cards with Rhea and Liv in a cell, Gunther and someone in a cell, Braun and Jade. No, none of those need it. The one that needs it is this feud.
Yeah. And the one thing I do want to mention now that we're on the topic of bad blood is something that the magnificent epiphany came to me before we started recording. Where is Bad Blood taking place, Dan?
It's in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where Roman and Cody just had that promo.
Yeah. Do you know who's been filming a movie in Atlanta, Georgia recently?
Tom Cruise.
Perhaps, maybe.
Maybe?
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh, he's in Atlanta, Georgia, is he? How
I saw that
convenient.
post today, and I was just the dots connected, the stars aligned, and I was just like, he's going to cost Roman and Cody that match.
Yes.
And this will mean that, despite your theory, I don't think if we're going to have a surprise Rock appearance, that the Hell in a Cell will main event.
It's got to main event it. Always main events Bad Blood. That'd be interesting, though, to me. Like, if Rock comes out and costs them, you can then see the tension between Roman and Cody as to who fights Rock first.
I just can't believe it. Like, he posted about the Appalachia High School, because I think they had the recent shooting, because he got them to visit his, like, the production area where he's been filming, and he said it's been in Atlanta, Georgia, and I read that, and I was just like, holy shit.
I mean, to be fair, though, Atlanta, Georgia is a very large filming city. They do, I'm pretty sure, like a lot of the CW TV shows and stuff are all filmed there, between there and Vancouver and stuff. So, yes, it's convenient, but also it's not like they're filming in, Tallahassee, New Kansas or something. Like, it's a very random place for them to be. Atlanta, Georgia is fairly common.
Yeah, I know,
but I still see the time. I think it can happen.
All right, back on the topic of CM Punk. We'll touch on his NXT appearances and then go back to anything from Raw if there's anything of importance after big meaty men slapping man meat.
Oh, so
CM Punk, as scheduled to make an announcement on NXT this week, comes out, gets interrupted by Roxanne Perez.
yeah.
Now, we know about their history outside
Yep.
on social media. They're good friends. Roxanne absolutely
It's a
idolizes...
wrestling dad.
Yeah. She absolutely idolizes AJ Lee. So for them to have this sort of confrontation on TV,
Great.
excellent. Roxanne, as much as we know that she loves CM Punk, that promo about her cutting the fact that she doesn't like CM Punk and she knew she always should have been a Drew McIntyre fan. She always loved his wife more than him.
That line was great.
Oh, so good.
Speaking of Drew McIntyre fan, I think was probably too soon after Gunther said to Bret Hart that I was always a Goldberg fan, because it seemed like it was.
It was funny though.
It was, but it was the same thing. So
yeah, essentially.
I really enjoyed that. I like the timing that you put out some of the stuff that we talked about last week around Julia and her lack of English skills. And look, let's be fair, this was fine. She came out.
Yeah.
She confronted Roxanne, and she said,
"You've only got 2 weeks left."
And I can't remember the other words she said.
That's all.
It was about 10 words, if that, which is fine, right?
Yeah.
And Punk sold it quite well. He sold the tension between the two of them. When Roxanne went to try and beat her up, he stopped it. All of that is really good, and I like the way that WWE have now used Punk to elevate that feud to a degree.
Yeah.
They're also using him to elevate another feud, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yep.
And then even bringing Randy Orton in, Randy Orton's from St. Louis, cool, chuck him on the NXT show.
Yeah.
Now they're actually going to use him to have a match against someone.
Yeah.
This was remember, was it last year when NXT moved the nights to go against AEW.
Yeah.
And they just chucked Undertaker
Cena,
and John
Taker.
Cena and Cody Rhodes down there. All kind of like without a purpose. And it was cool. It was cool for that 2 hours to see Undertaker and stuff on NXT. Yeah. Whereas I feel this time around,
it makes sense.
They were like, we need to throw some big stars at it. Yeah. But how do we make it actually justified that we're throwing some stars down there? And it's worked. Yeah. They put him into
CM Punk
stories.
in his hometown. You get Randy Orton in his hometown. Randy Orton going against Javon Evans.
Mate, that is going to be the sickest RKO out of nowhere.
Oh, absolutely. That's all anyone's talking about. That RKO spot is just going to be superb. Tuning in for sure just to see that. And then you mentioned that CM Punk made a second appearance on NXT.
He did.
So he came to make an announcement. He got interrupted, couldn't make that announcement until the very last 2 minutes of the show.
Yep.
Where Ethan Page and Trick Williams tried to sign their contract for their title match.
With Tyrese Halliburton from the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, they tried to sign it earlier in the night, but they fought. Trick Williams got put through a table.
Yeah. And poor Ava was just like, oh, screw it.
She's just sitting there. She's just like, oh. So yeah, get Tyrese Halliburton from the Pacers to come out, help get that.
Because that's what you need to do. When two wrestlers won't sign a contract and get put through a table, let's get a basketball player to fix it.
Well, they're not going to assault him, are they?
I commented to you how big WWE guys are.
Yeah,
because Trick standing next to Tyrese was like, yeah, they're about the same height.
How tall is Tyrese?
I don't know, he'd probably be 6'6", 6'7"-ish.
Halliburton.
He'd be pretty tall. But like, he's an NBA player. He looked as tall as Trick Williams. Trick looked like he would be fine standing next to LeBron.
1.96 meters. So
that's not even 6'6" then. He's only like, what, 6'4", 6'5"?
In feet, 6'5".
Yeah,
which is like pretty, like when you think about it like that, I feel like that's a pretty standard average sort of size for WWE superstars. And I think that's it's not on the shorter end, but like a lot of basketballers you see are that 6'9", 6'10".
No, only the real big ones.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the size has gotten smaller recently. But that's, I think, I can't remember who it was I was listening to or something around wrestling, and they were saying how WWE has always been the land of giants.
Yeah.
And those sort of guys kind of all fit in. And then, like, Billy Gunn is the example, right? Billy Gunn just looked like a wrestler. His whole career, he was a wrestler. He goes over to AEW, and he is foot taller than the Acclaimed. He is so much bigger than the Guns. Like, you put Will Ospreay and that next to him, and they don't look as big as what Billy Gunn does.
Huge.
But that's the thing. Like, AEW and a lot of the indie guys have been smaller, and WWE, because of, I guess, Vince's purchase to monsters, has always been the big guys.
Yeah.
And when you whack an NBA guy in the middle of that ring, and he looks just as, the wrestlers are the same size.
Put some muscle on him, and he fits in right.
It's crazy. But yes, this was CM Punk being announced as the special guest referee for the
Look
match.
in my eyes. What do you see? Special guest referee. It works. I should have sang it. It would have been so much better. Look in my eyes. What do you see? Special guest referee.
That needs to be a TikTok. Thank you, Reece.
Yeah, I'll go manually.
You better do that one. That's a good one. But yeah, look, great. Like we said, this is them using those main roster characters in a right way and sort of getting them involved. And I think that's... Because was it LA Knight that was a special guest referee earlier in the year on NXT?
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Can't even remember what a match was for.
No.
But I'm sure he came down and he was special guest referee.
For something.
Yep.
No, I don't know.
Trick was obviously the special guest for the
Joe Hendry... Ethan Page
Hendry match, that's correct.
Yeah. They're doing it a lot lately.
But I don't mind it.
No.
When it makes sense, it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on.
What else did I have from Raw? Hang on.
Yeah, check if there's anything important from Raw first. I feel like we covered everything of major importance.
I want to just talk on two things quickly. That I think that I'm going to pitch a storyline again, because Booker Dan's in for everything at the moment. But before I do that, I just want to comment on Joe Tessitore.
Yeah.
And how good he really is.
Yeah.
Like, he has the sound of American sports and boxing and football and now wrestling down pat.
Yeah.
He sounds like a commentator. Yeah. He'll miss a few moves every once in a while. He'll call it
can't call every
a Northern Light suplex instead of a belly to back suplex or something. Cole's been doing it for 30 years and he still makes mistakes.
Yeah.
So I just really want to give the flowers to Joe Tessitore, because I think he's doing a fantastic job, and him and Wade on that show are really holding up that commentary level. I was worried when they were shuffling everything around and moving things across, but I'm not now. I really, really like Joe. I think he's doing a really good
I
job.
think he's a lot better than the last Fox Sports analyst guy that they got in, who I can't even remember his name.
Jimmy Smith?
Yeah.
I think Jimmy Smith would have been fine if he didn't have Vince yelling in his ear the whole time.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
I think that's probably one of the main things is, and even Cole has said it, that having that freedom back on the desk, not being yelled at and told everything to say, gives them, because I don't think Pat McAfee could have worked as a commentator having Vince yelling at him.
No, absolutely not.
So I think having that freedom has allowed the color commentators to be more colorful.
Yeah,
and it's allowed
that's what we need.
Joe to come in and
it really like spices up that experience of watching wrestling.
Yeah,
having those commentators be so like bombastic and out
except for Booker T. Calm it down, bro. Too much. Oh my god, too much. Chucky ducky quack quack. The story that I want to
bread, no water, just meat.
The story that I want to pitch. So I've already pitched my Randy turns on Cody SmackDown storyline. I'm going to pitch my Raw storyline, Gina Reece.
Okay.
And it's around not the Judgment Day, the New Day.
Oh, yes, the New Day.
So the New Day, they keep teasing that they're going to split up, and they've been doing the Karrion Cross thing with Xavier Woods and stuff, and him getting angry.
Well, it's done. It's done and dusted now. Where are they? They've had their final testament, and they're gone.
But they did the match, obviously, on Raw this week, where the New Day were going for the tag titles against the Judgment Day, and they didn't get the win, even though Cross had a very clear pin. Woods had a very clear pin over the Judgment Day.
Stupid referee.
Because the referee was outside. He then blamed Kofi because he was yelling at him saying, look, you told the LW to help us. You didn't talk to me about it. We're supposed to be partners. Rah, rah. They've had this storyline for weeks. They had this storyline with Odyssey Jones before Odyssey Jones got booted.
Who?
Correct. So what I think is they're teasing this tension. And they're going to tease it. They're going to split up. But realistically, I think most wrestling fans don't actually want to see a split up. We don't ever want to really see Woods versus Kofi. We love the New Day.
I wouldn't want to see them fight each other, but like, I wouldn't mind seeing Xavier just be like, "I've had enough. I'm going to go my separate ways."
I'm happy for them to have singles runs, but I love them having singles runs in the New Day because they're supported by each other. Kofi Mania was made so much better because he had the New Day cheering him on the whole time. Big E's title run was so good because he had Kofi and Woods with him the whole time. I don't want to see them as single players because then they just get lost.
In
right?
the fold. Yeah, okay.
Keep the New Day. So what I think they're going to need to do is they need to tease that they're going to keep getting apart and they're going to start fighting and it's going to get worse and worse and worse until Big E comes back. And Big E finally just drags the two of them together and says, no, we're a brotherhood. We've been here for 10 years. We have to stay together. Power of positivity. Get your bootios back. All that kind of stuff. And that's what... Look, it might not be...
I'm getting emotional just thinking about it.
It might not be Big E returning to the ring, and I understand. If he can never wrestle again, that's totally fine. Right?
Even just as an on-screen personality,
100%.
as like their backup, their muscle. Like,
And all he needs to do is maybe hit a big clothesline on someone every once in a while when he's outside the ring. Maybe help powerbomb someone through a table. Not take a bump, not do anything, but he needs to be that power of positivity to bring the New Day back.
I dig it.
Sucker.
Yep.
Can you dig it, sucker?
All right. Let's talk about some news floating around in the world of wrestling at the moment. One of the big ones going on. The Lucha Bros have reportedly officially signed their WWE contract.
Officially.
Yeah.
Unannounced, non-confirmed.
According to PW Insider, they have signed their WWE contracts to be debuted on the main roster straight away.
Yeah.
Bypassing NXT.
The LWA is going to get so much bigger now.
I really hope not. Like, that would be an absolute fucking cop-out if they just bring in their second Latino talent for the year.
Oh, for the year?
Yeah, well, they brought Andrade back. They'll bring in the Lucha Bros and have them with that whole Legado del Fantasma LWO thing. That's an absolute fucking cop-out.
Nah, I hope not. Just bring him in as
I'm not
as
taking that. I'm not taking it. Just bring him in. One thing I thought about, and while we're on the topic, Motor City Machine Guns have also reportedly signed WWE contracts. They're set to debut in NXT, which I thought really interesting given there's such a tenured tag team. I can see that if it's something that they wanted and they wanted to help build up those new talents and work that lighter schedule, because it's kind of that NXT schedule is kind of similar to what they did in TNA. If they're like at that level and they're happy to keep that schedule going, it's a logical move for them to go to NXT. But I had a really interesting thought the other day.
Okay.
You've got Motor City Machine Guns and Lucha Bros coming in. Put them both on the main roster straight away.
Okay.
Straight into that title picture.
Oh, I agree.
I don't know who's going to be champions at the time, but you have a main event match on maybe SmackDown or Raw or something. The champions retain their title. They've run through a bunch of other tag teams in the lead up to that. And they're like, nobody's left. And then like they had it all out a couple years ago, you have the double debut. You have the Lucha Bros come out and say, we've got next. And then Motor City Machine Guns come out. And then you've got the two brand new tag teams feuding to see who gets that shot.
That'd be pretty fun.
What a perfect way to introduce those two teams. Just get them to have a bunch of banger matches.
Yeah. And I mean, when you think about it in terms of the tag team division right now, the Judgment Day had their first title defense since June.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those aren't being handled very well. And the Bloodline are beating the Street Profits and stuff that no one cares about. So I think both of those title scenes could have a shake-up.
Yeah.
I think if the Motor City Machine Guns go through NXT, I think that's purely like you said, building up some stars. And I think it's probably also to give them an accolade to use when they go to the main roster, to say former NXT Tag Team Champions or something.
Yeah.
Because we appreciate that they've been in TNA for so long and stuff, but then there's that pure WWE audience that would never have heard of them.
Yeah.
I would never know that they were fans. So, but if you can say, oh no, these are the NXT guys, they've been down there for 3 months beating Fraxium and Chase U and whatnot and stuff, and then they've come to the thing. Whereas, I think the Lucha Brothers, they have such a unique style to them in how they look from a lucha perspective and what their moveset is, that they will just catch on. And I know I'm joking about the LWO thing, and I really, really hope they don't do that.
Please don't.
I want them to just bring them in as a tag team and just get them a tag team shot and just take it on. I'm sure they'll do something backstage where they'll, with Rey Mysterio and say how he, led the path for all luchador wrestlers and that kind of stuff.
Just give him some respect.
Pay some homage to it, for sure. But just don't have them entwined in a storyline with it. I think just set them up as a tag team and let them go.
Such a cop-out. Yeah, that could be really exciting. I'd be happy for Motor City Machine Guns to be on NXT to start with, but having both of them debut on the main roster would be something special for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I reckon the way to do it is in a gauntlet match or something, like you said. So
you surprise entrance into a gauntlet match. Oh, that'd be sick.
Yeah, because Pretty Deadly, one of the teams that really underutilized at the moment. We just found out that Elton Prince and his partner Kelly Kincaid just had a baby. So that's probably why they're off TV for a little bit. Yeah. You obviously got Ivar, and that's still coming back for the War Raiders.
Oh yeah, but missing them lately. Injured.
The New Day, they're going to tease splitting, so they're not really doing tag team stuff per se. The Final Test has disappeared. Now's the point where you can say, hey, Judgment Day, you've gotten away with not defending these titles for 6 months. You're now going to have to defend it against 4 different teams. And you're not going to know who it is. It's just you're going to start out there and we're going to throw tag teams at you until you win. And that's when you debut a team like this.
That'd be so good.
Speaking of other things that may be debuting, maybe not debuting, depends on where you read into it in the internet. Zilla Fatu.
Yeah. Do you have the statement?
You can find it.
Have a bit of chat. I'll find the statement.
So Zilla Fatu is a cousin of Jacob Fatu and also a cousin of the Usos and Solo Sikoa. So he's part of the Anoa'i family. He's been with GCW, I believe, till 2023. He's still fairly fresh in his career. And so GCW have released a statement about him saying that he won't make his match on Saturday night or whatever that was, and then the next week's appearances. Reece will read the whole thing in a second. It's contested as to whether or not that's because he's just difficult to work with and GCW are getting rid of him, or if WWE have invested enough into him to sort of sign him and bring him into the Bloodline story, which is, contested because the rumors have been that they've already signed Hikuleo and he hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah, which is really interesting. When's that coming?
Correct. And if that's not coming soon, why are they going to get Zilla Fatu?
Yeah.
If he's not ready, and if he's only been around for a year, they've probably had their eyes on him, but WWE is not the company to rush someone in.
No, absolutely not.
just for a name, and not someone that's ready. And I don't know whether or not Zilla Fatu is ready for prime time in War Games with Roman Reigns type situations.
That's a big push to have him go from doing stuff in GCW to being at the biggest company in the world.
Because he was
the most important storyline in the world.
He was Jacob's tag partner.
Yeah.
They were partners in GCW. And when Jacob left, Zilla tweeted, "See you soon." So everyone's been talking about this for months that it was going to come, but here's the statement.
Yeah, I got the statement. So GCW released a statement. Zilla Fatu will not be appearing on tonight's GCW event in Philadelphia or any GCW shows for the foreseeable future. We tried our best to avoid this situation, but we have reached an impasse. We wish him the best. Mark Tremont will now face Slade tonight at GCW Aura in Philly.
That doesn't sound like he's signed somewhere else.
No.
That's not a we wish you well in your future endeavors.
So knowing his history and knowing that he recently, before like starting this whole GCW run, got out of prison, I suspect there may be some troubles regarding his behavior, perhaps.
Well, supposedly there was, even on the last GCW show, there was a spot where he was in the middle of the ring and he was yelling at the staff backstage and calling out the owner of GCW whilst he was in the ring, hitting a finish.
Interesting.
So I think he might just be a bit more difficult to deal with.
Maybe he's already getting a bit too big for his britches.
Oh, look, if you've got that Fatu name, and you know what your worth is.
That, but like, he's not been wrestling that long.
No, I absolutely agree.
Like, yeah, he's got some big impactful moments, but like, in terms of being like a fully fledged superstar, he's not there yet. He needs to go through, pay his dues, go through some more indies, go through NXT, get that proper superstar training up, and then go for it.
No, definitely.
But it's always a behavioral thing. Like, they do that throughout the like recruitment process and like training people up. You always got to have the coachable behavior.
Yeah, for sure.
Which sounds like Zilla's not quite there yet.
No, and you've already got the lone wolf in Jacob that's just ridiculous and crazy. Will hit every move. You've got Tama Tonga at everything. It's like you don't need more crazy. You've got that in the bloodline. Like you want someone that'll fit in more. And I don't know if that's Zilla. Let's get close to wrapping up here by start talking about AEW. Hey, or do you want to talk about the one other thing that was on the news?
Death Rebel, mate. They're gone. Done and dusted.
Well,
Death Rebel no
are
more.
they gone, or are they just not renewed?
Not getting renewed. The reports that I've seen coming out, no one's got a particular time frame on when their contract ends, but when it does, they're done.
And then I also heard rumors that WWE are going to start trying to use original music again.
Yeah. Which is like, that's all people are going to start talking about, because I've seen some stuff on social media. It's like Braun Breaker coming out to X-Con Give It To You. It's like all this other like random shit. I don't know. Because like this is going to be the thing. WWE is going to move towards licensed music.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Like,
I get that, but that's
not that
song
song
for Braun.
But like they'll find something. I feel like it could be fun because like the way that it worked for me growing up, a lot of the gateway into different music was through wrestling.
Killswitch Engage was from
Killswitch.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie.
Yep.
Drowning Pool.
Yep.
That's how I got into Alter Bridge.
Yeah. No,
that's how I got valid. Like there's so many different bands that they have
What's
used.
Triple H? Motorhead? All his stuff?
Blackstone Cherry, they did some stuff back in the early 2000s.
There's that one that was on the promo for Tiffany Stratton a few weeks ago, that Pink Cherry or something. Or
what's her name? Can't remember.
But it's like the real pop punk chick that did a really good song for her promo. Like that should be her theme song.
Yeah.
Get her to do that.
It's a good gateway because like not only does it help improve the product, it helps improve like the economics and the whole. I can't think of the word, but like you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Well, like think of it in America. Like all you can, like Americans care about that country, right?
Yes, they're very patriotic.
Yes, very patriotic. So there's no better way to like do that than help bring up fellow patriots. And this is a good way for them to do that. Like you're supporting your country, you're giving other people a platform to sell their wares.
But then you look at the AEW side of things and how much money they have to spend every time they play Final Countdown.
The Brian Countdown.
You got to be like depending on what songs you choose and what the royalty cost is. But yeah, I agree. If they pick smaller rock bands and things like they do with a lot of the pay-per-view themes and stuff, they pick smaller people with good songs. Yeah, I'm interested to see how that changes because Def Rebel in general have been pretty average.
Yes.
And nobody.
They've got a few bangers here and there, but yeah, it's time to move on.
AEW, let's finish with that for the week. And let's talk about where the best wrestle and where the most t-shirts are ever sold.
The FTR runners.
Oh, mate. I mean, you sent me that t-shirt.
Brian fears Nigel.
The fact that they set up a 10-man all-star tag match for Collision, right, that no one cares about, because why do you keep doing multi-man tag matches once off just for the sake of doing it?
Pump the number.
But it's like FTR and the Outrunners. And we've said that the Outrunners are like the most over people in that tag team gauntlet the other week.
I think I get it. I think I understand. I saw their promo that was released this week.
Yeah,
I sent it to you. You weren't fond of it.
What did I say? Oh, they were Rick Boogs off Wish.
Yeah.
Look, it's fine. It is what it hits a niche market. I'm not a huge fan. But the fact that like FTR and them haven't even had a match together yet.
They dapped last week and then they had the having the match on Collision. That's
and
it.
Ordered a t-shirt.
T-shirt. Come on, guys.
Jeez. That's a good bad. I guess to talk from the storyline side of AEW, there's really only two major things we want to touch on.
Yeah, probably.
Is the Moxley stuff with Darby.
Shit's getting very interesting on that front.
Yes.
I'm interested to see what the payoff's going to be. I see a lot of theories going around that Nigel McGuinness is going to be the mastermind behind that new faction.
Behind the new BCC type thing, because he wants to take out Danielson. Yeah, okay, I can see it.
Could be interesting.
I don't care for Private Party.
No.
So Moxley destroying them was nothing.
That's what he said. They've been there for 5 years and they're in the same spot that they were 5 years ago.
Yeah.
He's just spitting facts, man.
Yeah, and then he bashed him with a bloody rubber mallet on his hand. That was definitely the real one.
We've been very vocal about John Moxley being pretty average in the past. I'm liking this John Moxley. I got to admit. So far, so good. I don't have a complaint yet.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's no gas mask. Dean Ambrose.
This is exactly what WWE were trying to do before he left, without the gas mask.
Yeah, correct. So. The whole Darby thing, though, I think is fine. You're really worried that he beats
I'm so worried he's going to beat Daniel Bryan.
Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
At Wrestle Dream.
Yeah. I'm worried.
I don't know.
I said offline, man, the only way I'm going to be happy with that is if Darby wins and then gets immediately cashed in on by Christian Cage.
Yeah, but then you're diminishing Danielson's last match. If Danielson has to retire,
do that
and then get
that
cashed
diminishes. Like I said last week, that will be the equivalent of Baron Corbin retiring Kurt Angle.
Yeah, you're really not.
As much as I love Baron Corbin, might not have been the best decision. I liked it, but yeah, this Darby retiring Bryan Danielson, no, that's not it. I don't care if he's one of your pillars. No.
I also quite enjoyed the fact that I made a joke last week around Ricochet versing just random people from AEW, and then this week on Dynamite he versed the Beast Mortos, which is what I called.
Literally one of the things you called after he debuted.
The match was fine. Like it was a bunch of spots and stuff. Ricochet's fine.
Yeah, okay.
He actually cut a decent promo. You said backstage.
He did. His confrontation with Will Ospreay to announce that title match in 2 weeks for the 5th anniversary.
250th. Oh, is it the 5th anniversary of Dynamite or the 250th episode?
5th anniversary Dynamite.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure if it was the same.
Haven't they already done their 250?
I thought they did a 200. I can't remember. I don't pay that much attention to it. I don't like that he calls Ospreay little bro because Ricochet's smaller and he's generally small. Like he shouldn't be calling anyone little bro.
Yeah. Like
that to me is weird. Yeah. But the promo was fine. I 100% don't think they're giving away this match fully on TV.
No. I don't think they'll do like a MJF Ospreay type thing.
No. I think they will put on a good match and there will be some form of shoddy finish. I can't think of who's going to break it up or cause it, but maybe a 20-minute time limit draw.
Yeah, but like we've got the tag title match with United Empire and the Bucks next week.
Yep.
And I've said for a while it seems weird for them to just be all together for a bit.
Yeah.
And then not have that pay off with someone turning on someone. I feel like, we discussed this, Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita are fantastic wrestlers. And because of that, they're being kind of facey at the moment when they're meant to be like a heel faction.
Well, the finish of that 6-man tag on Dynamite with them over the Elite
Fletcher getting the pin
was awesome. It was a great match. It really was. And people were cheering when Fletcher got the pin.
Yeah. do you turn them heel? Do you have him turn on Ospreay? And then
No.
Ospreay comes
Please
in and
don't.
interferes in the match?
No.
I know I said weeks ago that's what I theorized was going to happen, but I don't know if I'm like cemented on that anymore.
I think the only
Very weird situation.
the only one you can turn in the Don Callis side, is Takeshita.
Yeah.
And I
Because
think
he's definitely showing the tension at the moment.
you could probably have Takeshita take out Ricochet and say that I should be getting a title shot before you should. Even though he's kind of trying to feud with Okada for the Continental title, not the International. But I mean, that's the only way I can see it happening. Or it's a 30-minute draw or something along those lines. Because I can't see
Because they're not winning
change.
the tag titles.
No,
way.
they
They got the pin over the Young Bucks and Okada.
Yeah.
That's what they're getting. They're not getting the titles next week.
I think that's pretty much all I had. Like the whole women's side of it is terrible. There's not much going with Mariah May. I don't care about any of the stuff with
Rules
her.
match.
Saraya rules match is not great. There's not a lot. Like it's kind of a lull now until Grand Slam when all this sort of stuff happens, and then we see what comes to Wrestle Dream.
Yeah. It's biding our time.
Which is strange. Supposedly Swerve will come back sooner than people expected, which I don't really want him to. I think give him time.
After that whole Texas death match that they did, having Swerve be on the very next Dynamite was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Looks like they've learned from that because he's not been seen for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, but you've got Hangman on there every week now having a feud with Jeff Jarrett. They're going to have a lumberjack strap match.
That's going to be interesting.
And to the point, from what we've read so far,
the lumberjacks have the straps.
Yeah, the lumberjacks are strapped, not the people in the ring.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Because, like, if you're generally in a strap match and you're strapped together, it's really hard to get in and out of the ropes because you've got to go over and around. So why would you have lumberjacks?
I think they're just going to have straps. I don't know if they'll be strapped together.
Which defeats the purpose of straps. Whatever.
We'll see what happens in a few days.
You do your best.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in a few days.
I think that's everything, right?
Yeah, that about wraps it up. It's been a good week in wrestling this week.
I mean, the highlight is the cinematic Roman and Cody promo and
meaty men slapping
the Kaiju Godzilla match. Kaiju Godzilla match for sure. That was the best.
What are they going to do next week? Can't wait.
Is next week? No, we still got another week before we have NXT on the CW. That's still another week away.
Yeah, still. What's going to happen this week on NXT?
I don't know.
Surely just got to build up to that. That face off that Trick and Ethan Page had with like CM Punk sitting in the background.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And let them fight. Them fight.
It's gonna be good.
I'm keen for that. I'm keen to see how they can get some more stuff running for Bad Blood and to get me properly invested in this whole Finn and Priest and Rhea and Liv because I feel like that's plateaued. Yeah,
like that's the thing. It's taken until now, until we're about to wrap up to talk about that because they got demolished again, and then Jay tried to make the save and then it didn't, and it's just another week of them getting beat down and nothing really happened.
Oh, that was
right in the head.
That was good. I think we're done.
Yeah, better wrap it up. As always, like, comment, subscribe, engage, join us on our TikTok, join us on our Discord. Let's talk wrestling. We love it. Didn't you love it? Obviously. Ticky-tack. I don't know what this guy's doing. Thank you for tuning in to Down Under the Mat. This has been Mr. Dan Danielson.
It has.
I've been Rowdy Roy Reece. We are delighted to bring you news and wrestling content every week. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, fantasy booking. We love fantasy booking.
Let's go.
Thanks for tuning in. Guns up.
See ya.